And it's time for news update here on Metro TV. This is Newsbeat. You're welcome to the program. We're live from the Akua Boahima studio at North Ridge. We're streaming on Facebook as Metro TV Ghana, on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on Metro TV_GH. We're also streaming on channel 277 DSTV. Now the headline. Passengers in Sekondi Takoradi stranded as transport operators embark on sit-down strike over the operations of what they term an illegal transport union. Ghana Health Service raises public alert of rabies-related deaths in the Ashanti region following the detection of 5 cases in 3 districts. This bulletin, coalition of NGOs in health warn of waterborne diseases outbreak if producers of water increase their prices. Now, news from elsewhere says Sweden's Prime Minister has resigned after her government was defeated in Sunday's election. Welcome back. Now, commercial drivers in Sekondi Takoradi on Thursday morning embarked on a sit-down strike to protest against the operations of an unregistered transport union, Bimbisala Cooperative. Now, Western Regional Correspondent Zambaga Rufai Saminu has more in the following report.
Several times, police station, yeah, GPS to tell me I'm Hello. Bass is sick, massy air in 445 or 1241. But much of my baby yin for phone nephew Bassin. This outside the number came more hard. Just say emphasis game.
The sit-down strike was organized primarily to protest activities of unregistered groups, including Bimbisala Cooperative. Consequently, all transport sector unions operating in Sekondi Takoradi on Thursday morning laid down their tools. The leadership are in arms against the relocation of Bimbisala Cooperative, an organization they deem unregistered, to the premises of Metromass Transit Limited.
When you see the people that they are working with, macho men and some kind of people, you understand, the kind of people that they are working with, and the life and the character, the trust that they've been meting on us. In fact, we are not safe in the hands of him, and we are not safe when for him being around. The way forward is that they should let the guy live here. When he lives here, we'll work. And they revoke their permit.
Responding to the concerns of the transport unions, President of Bimbisala Cooperative, Emmanuel Saki, disagreed with their position.
Because of that, the mechanics and can this move by but more idea and allegations no more yet. Say you'll be here to trust man can run at you can drop it I buy your more blocking a car with me now in Cabal missing.
Meanwhile, stranded passengers lamented how the sit-down strike has affected their programs and activities.
Now, this is the current situation as we speak in Sekondi Takoradi. Zambaga Rufai Saminu joins us via phone for a conversation. Zambaga, thank you for your time. Good afternoon to you. So first, explain to me what all this Bimbisala Cooperative is about. Have you done some checks on them and what did you find out?
Yes, so basically, Bimbisala Cooperative is one of the transport unions operating within the Efia Kwesimintin municipality. Right now, they are trying to move their activities to Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly. Don't forget that within the Sekondi Takoradi, we have two assemblies. That is the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, and then the Efia Kwesimintim Municipal Assembly, which was carved out of the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly. And so Bimbisala Cooperative Union was operating at ECMA, that is the Efia Kwesimintim Municipal Assembly. When Metromas was also operating there, they disturbed Metromas, and Metromas left ECMA and moved to Sekondi Takoradi. And now Bimbisala is coming back to Sekondi Takoradi, especially to the premises of Metromas, as if wherever Metromas is, they want to compete with them. And because of that, all the other transport unions, in fact, are fully behind Metromas Transit Limited, so that they'll be able to fight for their rights. Because it was through the same confusion that Bimbisala carried out that drove Metromas Transit Limited out of ECMA. And now they are operating in Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan area. And Bimbisala is coming back to STMA again to operate within the premises of Metromas Transit Limited. And that is the reason why the TPRTU executives and all the other transport unions have rallied behind Metromas Transit Limited to fight for their rights, that they would never allow Bimbisala cooperatives to operate there. They are also suspecting that some big men are behind Bimbisala cooperative, pushing their agenda in their own parochial interest. And because of that, these transport union leaders are up in arms against any attempt to foist Bimbisala Cooperative Union onto the operations of Metromas Transit Limited.
But how powerful are their activities that really is able to force out Metro Mass Transit from, where it operates?
Usually, the explanations offered by the executives, the president of the Bimbisala Cooperative is called Emmanuel Saki. He moves with macho men. And so if he decides that they are going to operate here, whatever that they are going to do to make sure that their buses get the opportunity to load passengers, they will do it with the aid and support, with the aid and able support of the macho men. So for them, they believe that anywhere Bimbisala Cooperative will operate, there will be confusion. And so they don't really want to see Bimbisala Cooperative Union at all.
Have you seen some of these macho men around? And how long is this strike lasting?
Basically, all the unions are saying that by the explanations offered by the Metropolitan Chief Executive, Abdul Mumin Issa, that they should give them time, even though he's called for ceasefire, that nobody should operate. So all of them should cease fire. Nobody should operate until they ascertained the veracity of the case. They want to investigate to find out the root cause of the confusion that is raging between these transport unions. But if you look at the premises of the Metromas Transit, in fact, it appears the Bimbisala Cooperative is very well prepared that they would give Metromas Transit a run for their money. They are not prepared to move away. And Metromas is also saying that if they don't move away, they will not also operate. As we speak, a bus that belonged to Bimbisala Cooperative loaded passengers, but Metromas also blocked the bus, that the bus will not move out of their premises.
Right. Zambaga Rufaya, thank you for the updates there. We'll follow up on this development and bring you some more in subsequent bulletins. Now, residents of Tamale have called on government to consider reducing fuel prices to avert any transport fare increment by drivers. They made this call after the Transport Operators Association announced plans to increase fares by 30% on September 21, 2022.
The Transport Operators Association of Ghana announced plans to increase fares by 30% from 21st September. The projected increase, according to the drivers, is due to the increment in fuel products, spare parts, and the poor management of the economy by the government. In Tamale, many of the residents expressed worry over the planned increment.
Support it, the increment of lorry fare. I'll support it. And if they talk of reducing the fuel I support that one to 100%. Immediately they reduce the fuel, nobody will talk of increasing this thing again. Nobody Why don't we talk of increasing the lorry fares? So once the lorry diesel is not decreasing and they are talking about increasing the fare, I support that one too.
When you look at the increment of items in Ghana here, so to me, I don't think it's necessary. I think they have to sit with the government and negotiate. Maybe some of the prices of fuel can be reduced.
We are all crying, but how can we do? Because when we look at the fuel and then the fare, we the drivers are and then union, even the increments, we are not happy about it. But how can we do?
Meanwhile, Industrial Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Imuru Abbas, says his outfit has not yet concluded on when to increase transport fares or the percentage.
The government must do something for us. Anytime they increase the fuel, and we, the drivers, are not getting it from our lorry fare. Right now, you say, I'm here in Bimbala Station. I load them from Tama to Bimbala, and the whole fare is 2.7. When you buy 2.7 from Tama to Bimbala, when you are coming back, you're supposed to buy another 2.7.
Now, joining us via phone is a public relations officer of the Concerned Drivers Association, David Agbado, to tell us more. David, thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. You're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
So you have said that you have agreed with the GPRTU on this 30% increase you proposed, but they have denied it and says they have not come to that conclusion. Is this true?
When they say they are not, I don't know how to put it, but all I have to say is they are also demanding increment. Aren't they also demanding increment?
Have they agreed on a 30% increment?
My sister, we met as Coalition of Commercial Transport Operators, and we all have agreed on 30%. But that's why I say I cannot speak for them. But what I know is that we, the commercial transport operators, have agreed that on 21st, we have to increase our fares by 30%.
So this is an independent decision of increment by 30%. This is by Concerned Drivers Association without the collaboration of GPRTU, if we can come to that conclusion.
It is not Concerned Drivers alone that have only come out with this 30%. But it's Coalition of Commercial Transport Operators, and we are transport operators.
So, but the Coalition of Transport Operators includes the GPRTU, which is the biggest union.
Exactly so.
And they are saying that they have not agreed on this because, you know, this can actually spike some uncertainty in the market or in the economy, and will urge some drivers to increase without a necessary legal procedure for it to go through before the increment is done. So we have to agree or come to a one decision that this is what's going to happen. We've gone into agreement with the government and with all associations before this increment can happen, not so?
My sister, the problem we have here is not going to government or sitting down with government. We have a lay down rules that if the fuel have shoot up to 10%, we have to increase transport fare. The other time in May that we increased transport fare, it was 12 cedis 25 pesos per liter. Now it's 14 cedis 50 pesos. If you add up, it's how many percent? You see, it is not all the time that we, the transport operators, will go to government that let's come, let's judge all. It is their duty. That's why we have the sector minister over there. If NPA, his first window, we all know that NPA have two windows. One starts from 1st and end up at 15, and other starts from 16 and end up at the ending of the month. They do increase their products. It is that time that we need to have this judge or something. But we have waited for 2 solid weeks. There was no response and nothing. And we have come out with the decision to take 30% on 21st, which is on Wednesday. And they are saying otherwise. We don't have anything saying, but we are hoping that my secretary informed me this morning that yes, there was a letter from Ghana Transport Coordinating Council that we should have an emergency meeting on tomorrow. We'll go to the meeting and see what happens there.
So after the meeting, if you are requested to reduce at least the percentage of increase, will you agree?
We are in Ghana. We all see what is going on. Even pure water have appreciate and now selling for 50 pesos. So we'll go there and we'll all talk.
Right, we will definitely all talk. David Agbado, thank you for your time here on Newsbeat. Now, the sachet water that he referred to, the coalition of NGOs in health, is warning of waterborne diseases outbreak if producers of water increase their prices. The producers on Wednesday announced that sachet water would be increased to 50 pesos. But the coalition is worried that people living in rural areas in particular will resort to drinking from the well, streams, and other unclean sources as they cannot afford the new cost to quench their thirst. Bright Emisanyako is the national chairman of the coalition of NGOs in health.
It's one of the commonest things that support our system and then our health as a human being. So if government will take the action, or the factories, water producing companies are thinking of increasing the prices of water, especially sachet water, it is something they have to come again on it, considering the communities that we work with, and then the number of outlets that they appoint are able to sell water to. And for this matter, I'm talking of the communities. So as we know, the composition of our whole body is water. And it is one of the commonest essential commodity. Everybody should be available and then very pure and accessible to everybody. The people we want to sell water to are the same people we will be killing in the long run when we are not able to provide them good quality and potable water to drink at a very cheap price. So initially, I think we have to look at how we can come again on these discussions and pick it up. Every outbreak of disease is being controlled and prevented with water. So when we talk of water, it is one of the key things that we cannot take out of our lives as human beings and then link it to health. So the producers of water, I perfectly agree with them on the conditions or the economic conditions of the country. But in the other sense, increasing it to as much as 50 pesos per sachet, it's a huge thing they have to consider. They could look at increasing it, but not to that extent, not to that much, where people could not have access or have money to buy that. And then for that, they will resort to doing something else.
Well, meanwhile, some sachet water sellers have been reacting to the imminent increase.
So normal tomorrow. Just one bag, 7 cedis. It be a 6 cedis. And to say Antonio 50 pesos. And you better blog near the begum. And so need the SSA and Tumina, so ye for being Tumina, I answer yes, ye yabi. Your top blog, and a ton. I may say, me enemy and some 1 cedi. Mtebe me the end, me and some 1 cedi na me and Baobana get a 30 a magic. Look at a 40 so a magic.
Because you see a first and I hear 5 and I turn 20 pesos. So see I AC in 7 or more to Muntin I turn 40 pesos. And I pass your bag me a new cry sign. Obia so be boost ya go bottle ma de aba. They say I on top.
Pure water no more to move 7 cedi. And yes you turn 40 pesos. Don't see a 2 petrol. Omu 2 petrol mo na really first ya 2. Ti omu top petrol go kan mo pure water from be chisa. Maybe obi anto ba ko a. Na omu short petrol. Omu sa iska ko to fufuro. Nti omu 2 pure water no ma yesu ye betum sa pepepe di say yam splenchen anase de oye na enye nti oya o ma petrol ba fom kakra ma e.
Well, Kwame Agyapong Intra is the National Corporate Affairs Director of the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water, and he's joined me via phone for more on the imminent increase of their produce. Kwame, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Newsbeat. So what are the factors that are mounted to the current new increment?
Well, the President, thank you for having me. The factors are many, but let me concentrate on 5 main items which have pushed us to increase our prices. The first one has to do with the fuel prices. In March, when we last increased our price, diesel was selling around 80%. Currently, as we speak, it has moved up to 14 to 50%. And so the difference is, if you want to do some calculation, is getting to almost twice what was happening in March. Let me give an example, just one example on the fuel issue. I have a truck, about between a year and a year and a half ago. When I took my truck to the pump to fill it, when it was almost empty, I used to pay maximum of 500. It used to be about 450 thereabouts. Sometimes even 400. Currently, I am filling the same tank with 1,450. The difference between then and now is about 1,000. And when I fill the tank, it lasts me for maximum 3 days. So every 3 days, I'm coughing 1,000 every 3 days. If I have 5 trucks, and I'm coughing 5,000 every 3 days, how am I going to make it? So that is the dilemma in which we find ourselves. Then the second one happens to be the current increases that PURC has announced, 27 and 21% in electricity and fuel tax. We have no way of changing anything from that. So it has kicked in already, and we are expected to pay at the end of the month. So that is also pushing it. We have to adjust our prices to be able to make up this. Even before the increment, I was paying something like 6,000, personally, this is my personal one, paying something like about 6,000 per month for electricity alone. So now that it's gone to about 27% thereabouts. So how am I going to cope? Then you move on to the rate of the CD dollar relationship. Right. Dollar is now hovering around 10 plus. In March, it used to be 50. Now, those who supply us with rubber, they buy the rubber from outside the country with hard currency. I'm talking about dollars or pounds or whatever. They have already increased their price because the dollar has increased in terms of rate. So when they have increased it, I'm challenged. I don't have anything to do other than to look at my prices against on. Then Ghana government also was forced to give COLA to government workers to cushion them. My workers have learned. All of us, is now public knowledge that they have received 20% COLA. So our workers are also on our neck. I have one of them sitting in front of me now. They are asking for increment in salary. What do I do? You see, so when you talk of the electricity, water, you talk of the dollar rate, you talk of the fuel price, you talk of price, salary increment, and other items, which I can't enumerate yet, then you are forced to sit down and readjust things and look at your price regime. So that is what has moved us to go up again. It is not our intention that less than 1 year you have to increase price again, but the dynamics have changed.
Right.
The dynamics have changed.
Right. Kwame Agyapong, thank you for the clarity here on Newsbeat. Thank you so much. And he is the National Corporate Affairs Director of the National Association of Sachet Water and Packaged Water. You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro TV. It's time for us to take a breather. We'll be back shortly with more. Welcome back to Newsbeat. We're streaming live on channel 277 on DSTV. Now, the Ghana Health Service is alerting the general public of rabies-related deaths in the Ashanti region. So far, about 5 cases have been reported in 3 districts of the infections which have 100% fatality rate.
A statement from the service on September 12, 2022 noted there has been a rise in confirmed outbreak of rabies cases and deaths in 3 districts in the Ashanti region. As of the date of release of the statement, there had been 4 confirmed cases and 1 probable case. These were reported from the Asante Achem South, Bosomtwe and Kwabri East districts. The alarming side of it is that the case fatality rate is 100%. The Ghana Health Service is therefore cautioning certain public health actions to be taken, such as enhanced sensitization on rabies, improved case search for rabies in the facilities, follow-up and treatment of all cases of dog bites. The statement signed by the Ashanti Regional Director of Health Service also urged districts to embark on dog vaccination activities, liaising with veterinary officers. The public is hereby cautioned to report symptoms such as sudden fear of water, nausea, fever, abnormal tingling sensations, or pain after dog bites, as this could be a suspected case of rabies.
So now we have been joined via Zoom by Risk Communications Officer for the Veterinary Services Directorate, Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, for more or some sensitization on this rabies outbreak. Doc, thank you for your time and thanks for joining us on Newsbeat. Explain to us what this rabies, we don't normally hear about rabies outbreak. Why this?
Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, we are in September, and on 28th September, the whole world will celebrate Rabies Day. So in Ghana currently, we have termed September as Rabies Awareness Month, and it's so unfortunate that this is coming as at this time. Currently, many countries, including Ghana, have signed to a charter that 2030 we should eradicate rabies in the various countries and to help to contribute to the whole world. Certain countries, like most of the European countries, and in Africa, and some countries like Chad and Malaysia, they have all eradicated rabies. It's left with some more countries to do so. Rabies, as we know, is a viral disease which normally affects the nervous system. This one deals with a mental issue. So the rabies is coming from a Latin word, talk about madness. And in most local language, you see the madness name running through it all. It's also that we are getting this at this time. Rabies is 100% fatal. Once the person gets it and begins to show signs, nothing can be done about it. No treatment, nothing can be done. But the good news is that it is 100% preventable. And this one can affect all mammals. And so with mammals, we as humans are also part. The dogs, the cattle, the cats, monkeys that we have, all these ones, as far as mammals, can be affected. And bats also play a role in it. Over the years, Veterinary Service Collaboration, Ghana Health Service, NADMO, and other stakeholders in One Health, which is World Health Organization, FAO, have been putting a series of programs to make sure that awareness is created. But the truth is that in our country, Ghana, is part of the neglected disease that people don't pay attention to, because most people have not seen cases of that nature. For me, fortunately for me, I've come out with health personnel who have seen patients dying of rabies. It's a shameful death. So most people in Ghana here, when their beloved loved ones die of these ones, don't like it to be mentioned. Sometimes don't even organize funerals for those people. So how did we hear? I met somebody who said his own son died of rabies right before his eye, in front of his own eyes, saw the signs and symptoms that a dog will exhibit, and he has told the friends of his own son that he has traveled outside the country. And he says anytime of rabies comes.
Right, Doc, if you can quickly feed us in. If you can feed us in on the signs and symptoms.
Okay, great. So rabies, once normally a person may get it from a scratch or a bite of an infected, normally we say dog, because the cases are showing that 70% of the rabies cases are through dog-mediated bites. So either a scratch or a bite or a scratch. Why? The virus affect the nervous system and they affect the body fluids of the infected animal. And know for dogs, they salivate a lot. So it is once they bite you, the saliva has a load, the viral load, which goes to your body system. So if you have a braided skin, have a cut somewhere, all these things are point that the person infected dog or infected viral load of a fluid can get access and get. Now, depending on the closeness to your brain, is how fast you begin to show signs and symptoms. So if you are being bitten around your knee or below your knee, to take a longer time compared to your chest area or your hand, because it's closer to your head. It's where your brain is near housing. Now, when somebody gets this rabies virus and begins to manifest signs, what you can see is that the normal fever is seen in the beginning, headaches is being seen, but the typical signs that begin to see that the person starts to have a nervous problem, hallucination. This after we see humans barking like a dog.
Right.
It's happening in the country, Ghana, and people showing those signs. It's salivating a lot. The person it becomes hydrophobia, doesn't want to take any water, and also doesn't like to be in a light. So the person is left in a dark room and sometimes change to his bed, so the person dies.
Right, Doc. Thank you very much. For the sake of time, we'll leave it here. Dr. Benjamin Sasu, speaking as a veterinary executive. Now, the Member of Parliament for Wa Central, Rashid Pelpo, is appealing to security agencies to beef up security in the Wa Central municipality, which has in recent times experienced a string of murders and rampant attacks on residents. The MP, in a strong worded statement, stressed how the incidence of violent crimes is affecting the livelihoods of residents in the region. He has subsequently called on the security agencies in the municipality to work closely with traditional authority and regional security council to track down criminals who must have had a field day. Let's get on to Zoom now and speak with Rashid Pelpo, MP for Wa. Hello, Honorable Member. Thank you for your time and thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. What have you done after the statement? I actually saw your statement yesterday, but what have you done after that? Hello, Honorable Rashid Pelpo. If you can unmute, kindly unmute your mic. Can you hear me, sir? All right, so we're trying to have a conversation with a WA MP who released a statement in connection with the serial attacks and crimes happening in his area, and have called on security agencies to act swiftly to arrest perpetrators who are carrying out these crimes. Honorable Member, if you can hear me now, let me try once more. If you can hear me, Rashid Pelpo.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. So I was asking what you have done after you released your statement. I've seen the statement, I saw it yesterday, but have you taken any other steps after the statement?
Yes. Just before the statement, as I mentioned in the statement, I had talked to key individual stakeholders who will be responsible for taking any action to make sure this very devilish action is turned in the bud. And after the statement, I went back to speak to some members of society in Wa. I spoke to the chief and people, and I assured them of my full support for any such initiative that can help bring down the perpetrators of the crime. I have also spoken on radio on this matter, and I have been using the FM stations to educate our people, to let them understand. You know, of late, there had been a lot of communication adverts on radios by people who say they make money. And they swear to God that if you come to them, they'll make you rich. And the impression I'm getting is that such people plus others
are keenly, responsible, are people who we can begin to suspect, including others who didn't know, who were not in town or in the city and had begun to come there, and were once a while caught trying to murder a person. Such people are all to be.
You're referring to ritual murders.
Yeah, I suspect that because some of the bodies of the people are removed. This is very, very unfamiliar with Wa, and it had never happened. I was born, bred in Wa. It had never happened in my life. So when these things begin to happen, then you know that there's a strange interference by a certain culture of people who are beginning to see Wa as a place they can practice their acts of murder and aggression.
Do you have a lot of migrants settling in Wa now?
Oh yeah, just as in Accra or in any other place, you have almost the same number of people who are there from Nigeria, from Mali, from Cote d'Ivoire, from all over. I mean, they are all in Wa. Right. You see them practicing their ways of life. It is not a problem when you come as a visitor to a town in Ghana and you practice who you are. It is when you interfere with life of the people, disturbing the way of life of the people, that begins to raise questions.
Right. Honourable Member, thank you. Thank you for your time. We will help you follow up on this as well. Honourable Member of Parliament for Wa constituency, Rashid Pelpo there. You're still watching News Beat here on Metro TV. Let's get into the business world, which is the focus of almost everybody. Winston Taki will give us the updates of what's going on in the business world. My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you, Oni. It's time for business right after this. And now to our first business story. Minister of Energy Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh says government has no intention of scrapping the bust margin from the petroleum tax. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company, the Energy Minister stressed that monies accrued from the levy would rather be used to cover the maintenance of operating costs of the company.
The Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company margin is one of the components of petroleum price buildup. Bust margin was introduced in 2011 for BOST to use to cover the maintenance and expansion of pipeline infrastructure for the transportation of petroleum products to its depots. However, the retention of the levy in the petroleum tax has raised concerns in recent times where petroleum products have been on the increase. During the annual general meeting of BOST, Energy Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh praised management of the company for turning its fortunes around to enable it register a profit margin of 160 million Ghana cedis for 2021. He also stressed that the BOST margin in the petroleum tax build-up won't be scrapped.
I would like to commend management for the prudence which resulted in these massive reductions in the cost of operations. The company is spending less whilst achieving more. I can promise that the BOST margin is not being taken off the petroleum products anytime soon. We will use the BOST margin efficiently and effectively to protect the citizenry of this country against the vagaries of private sector interests, which is always profit against the ordinary citizen of this country.
Board chairman of the company, Eko Hackman, said the company is on its way to doubling up production and improve its profit margins.
These are some of the drivers behind the improved performance of the company, culminating in a 77% improvement in revenues from 633 million in 2020 to just over 1.2 billion in 2021.
Managing Director of BOST, Edwin Provençal, gave an assurance that the company is taking steps to expand its operations and build additional storage facilities.
With the inflows of new income, that is profit, we will be increasing the volumes of fuel we bring into the country. But the country needs a proper policy for the strategic reserves, and I'm happy the minister is on the way of on his way of achieving that. We don't dispute the fact that our role can be enhanced, and the minister has said that government is now willing to ensure that through innovative ways, that strategic role you were talking about would be enhanced. And I have no doubt that that would happen, hopefully before the end of the year.
The Ghana Lotto Operators Association and the Concerned Lotto Agents Association of Ghana, GLA, have expressed their dismay with aspects of the operations of the National Lottery Authority in recent times. According to the group, issues relating to licensing, regulatory measures, digitalization mechanism, and responsibility towards the Veteran Association, among other things, were being carried out inefficiently and with selfish interests rather than in the national interest that was leading to serious job losses and losses in their industry. Now, away from that, Ghana's relative stability has encouraged a viable entrepreneurship environment. According to the Deputy Minister of Trade in charge of SMEs, Nana Amadukwa Asiama Ejei, the role of the youth in the SME ecosystem is indispensable in the nation's economic transformation. She was speaking at the Ghana Startup and SMEs Week launch in Accra. Ghana has emerged as one of the most robust and developed startup ecosystems on the continent, following Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa as the major hubs on the continent. Speaking at the launch of the Ghana Startups and SMEs Week in Accra, the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Nana Ama Esiama Ejei, says the SMEs play a significant role in national development.
There has been increasing interest in high-tech startups and SMEs, which can be justified on 3 grounds, namely, 1, they can transform an economy by means of their contribution to national income, employment, innovation, products and services, and even exports. 2, they are emerging rapidly in developed countries as well as in emerging economies. 3, they have very high success rates.
She further emphasized the role of the youth in the startup ecosystem.
It is interesting to note that the continent is home to 576 fintech startups, and they are run by young people.
Now, let's look at the inflationary trend from the month of January to now, how the Statistical Service has been consistently averaging how much the inflation rate has gone up. So from the month of February, we're at 15.7%. There has been consistent increase to February, where it recorded 23.6%. And May, we hit 27.6% as well. But as of July, we ended up hitting the 30 marks, which is 31.7%. With August, that was yesterday, the latest figure was 33.9%. Specifically, transport fares, utility, and many other factors, especially transport, are the leading factors driving the inflation upwards. That'll be all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next after this break.
It's 48 past midday here in Accra. It's time for sports on Newsbeat. My name is Phil John Quarter. Let's focus on UEFA Champions League. Yesterday was match day 2. Interesting results, including the one that happened at Chelsea. 1-1 and ended, involving then Salzburg, Graham Potter's first match at Stamford Bridge. You see the results on your screens pretty soon. There you have it over there. Rangers in Scotland were beaten by Napoli by 3-0. In Italy, AC Milan beat Dinamo Zagreb by 3-1. Chelsea, like I told you, drew 1-1 with Salzburg. Shakhtar Donetsk also drew 1-1 with Celtic. They are from Scotland. Real Madrid, they have the championship title for 14 times. They beat Leipzig by 2-0. In Denmark, Copenhagen drew goalless with Seville. They are from Spain. Then in England, I think Manchester City beat Borussia Dortmund. It was quite an interesting match. It ended 2-1. In Turin, Juventus were beaten strangely by Benfica 2-1. Then in Israel, not in Tel Aviv, but this time around a city called Maccabi, it was PSG that went with the likes of Neymar and Mbappe, not forgetting Messi, all on target. They won by 3-1. Former French international Patrice Evra visited Nana Akufo-Addo at the president yesterday and spoke about nationality switch, about involving players and competitions.
Receive such an overwhelming welcome, better than the one I received in Nigeria. And it's just fantastic. I am here, of course, in partner also with Cheaper, but I also, my dream now is also to change the image of Africa. That's why I've been in Senegal, I've been in Cameroon, we've been in Nigeria, and I really, through also my social media, to change, to make sure this new generation, they know they can be successful in their own country. I'm born in Dakar, I play for France. When we were young, my parents gave me the choice to choose my national team, but growing up in France, I picked France. But I understand it later, it's really important to pick your own country because it's become politic. When you win, you're a French player. When you lose, you're a Senegalese player.
Former French international Patrice Evra speaking at the presidency yesterday. That's your sports. My name is Phil John Quarte, and I am standing by for Showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment News is next. My name is Anayata Nobwache. Now, Ghanaian singer-songwriter Riala has been welcomed as a member of Grammy's 2022 new member class after receiving an invitation from the Academy.
Organizers of one of Ghana's much-anticipated annual events, Africhella, suspended one of its leaders, Edward Ajayi, also known as DZ, from his leadership position due to sex allegation. DZ has officially issued a public apology via his Twitter account. The apology is long overdue, the statement begins, but it was necessary to take time to fully process and reflect on everything that's happened. I firstly want everyone, most especially the women on the receiving end of these communications, to know that from the bottom of my heart, I am truly sorry and absolutely ashamed about all of it. I did not carry myself in a respectable manner at all, and that behavior is not acceptable from me or anyone for that matter. There are no words that can possibly convey how remorseful I am, but I believe the best apology is changed behavior, and so from now on, I will dedicate myself for being much more respectful and mindful in all my dealings. Every one of you deserve much better from me, and that's all I wish to strive for moving forward.
And that was DZ officially apologizing to the general public. Now we'll take the Riala story.
Recording Academy President and CEO Harvey Mason Jr. shared the news during an annual address in which he welcomed nearly 2,000 diverse musicians, including the Ghanaian Afro-pop singer, songwriter, and other music industry professionals, into its ranks. The membership presents her an opportunity to celebrate, represent, and give back to music and its creators. Riala, which means the doer in Sisala dialect, began her solo career in 2013, and with the release of her eponymous album Riala in 2014, she has finally established herself as one of Ghana's brightest female stars. Last year, nearly 3,000 people were inducted into the Recording Academy, including British act Tiana Major 9, Nigerian-American talent manager Jonathan Azu, Jamaican reggae singer Skip Mali, and Ghanaian dancehall and reggae singer Stonebwoy. In 2020, British Ghanaian DJ and producer Juice also joined the Academy.
That's all on entertainment news. Annie, over to you.
Thank you, Naya. Let's take the international updates.
Ivory Coast on Wednesday accused Mali of blackmail over 46 Ivorian troops who have been detained by Bamako and called for West African leaders to discuss the crisis as soon as possible. Mali's ruling junta last week tied the troops' release to the extradition of Malians living in Ivory Coast, a condition that amounts to unacceptable blackmail. The government's National Security Council said in a statement it reiterated a call for the soldiers' immediate release and urged a meeting of leaders of the regional bloc ECOWAS as soon as possible. The queue to see the Queen laying in state has grown over the course of this morning and is now around 3 miles, 44.8 kilometers long, according to the government's tracker. It stretches along the southern bank of the River Thames to between London Bridge and Tower Bridge, with HMS Belfast the closest landmark to the back of the line. For those wanting to pay their last respect virtually, there is a dedicated video streaming on the coffin resting in Westminster Hall. Sweden Prime Minister says she will stand down after her government was defeated in Sunday's elections. Magdalena Andersson's centre-left coalition looks set to narrowly lose to a bloc of right-wing parties, 176 seats to 173, with 99% of the votes counted. Moderate Party leader Alf Christensen is now expected to form a government.
And that's all we have for you this afternoon. The news came to you live from the Akua Boahema studio at Northridge. We'll come to you at 4 with the news flash, at 7 with the news night, and at 10 with News Line. Thanks for watching.